the Enfield Inland Wetland Watercourse Agency meeting for Tuesday, May 4, 7 p.m. Can we have the pledge of allegiance? Oops, I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
and to the republic
which
for which it
stands one nation,
nation under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
with
and
liberty and
justice
justice
for
for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Donna Corbin Sabinsky,
Here.
Kevin Zorda,
Here.
Virginia Higley, here. Carrie Ann Howe,
Here.
Marie Pisner,
Here.
Bob Hendrickson.
Here.
Okay, I'd like to seat Marie. Next is correspondence. I don't have any. Next is agents correspondence, site visits or comments, anybody?
No, just, I know Ginny was just talking about it, and Marie. We did have another POCD meeting. It was a public forum. I actually wish that we saw some more people from some of the commissions. We did have some. It was basically just the committee and a handful of other people. I wish we saw more of the public and more commissioners from all of the land use commissions and agencies. I mean, it's an important thing, and one of the pieces of homework that we have, Ginny and I, as commissioners, is to go through the last POCD and kind of evaluate if the points were completed.
Okay.
So I think it's something that we should maybe we can distribute it to the commission, because as I look through it, it's hard for me to say if we have, because to be honest, I didn't really know much about this to start with. So it's not something that we've actually actively worked on since I've been on the commission. So,
Right.
I'll go through it and look at it, but it might be beneficial for all of you to receive that and to see what your opinion is.
I think you might have it.
Yeah, I think we do, but it was actually, I think, in our binders that we all got, and I don't know how many people actually looked through that. I'll be honest, I never really read the whole thing or looked through it, and there's some really important and good stuff in there, and I think it's really helpful that more commissioners and more public get on it, so that it is reflective of what the people want in our community.
Well, maybe if you want, we could add it to our agenda. We could go over a few pages every meeting or something.
Okay.
You want to do that?
I think that's a good idea.
Well, I think going through the portions that are, for wetlands would be good.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, that's what I mean. You pick out some of the ones you want to talk about, and we could bring it up and talk about them if you want.
That'd be great. We do have to have the homework assignment in a couple weeks, so we won't be able to kind of do that, but I think it should be an ongoing thing that we're working on as well.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Madam Chair, this is
Yeah.
Lori.
Yeah, hi.
So Georgie and I were actually talking about that, and that, I don't think we have any applications for the next meeting for inland wetlands. So we were talking about maybe, focusing on the wetlands aspects of the POCD for you guys to discuss.
Oh, that'd be
Excellent.
good.
Because I will not be at the meeting, but you guys can certainly discuss that amongst yourselves.
Oh, that'd be good. That's a good idea.
Yeah, we can basically workshop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kevin, I just want you to know, we deliberately did not invite all the commissioners because we were hoping that it would be more of a public forum, and we were hoping for more public. And again, if there's any other suggestions to get the public to attend these, please let me know. I'm not a social media person. It's not my forte at all. So, I mean, we pass them out to the town manager's office and we try to put them on the web. And like I say, we put it in the paper and so on and so forth. I mean, aside from like knocking on doors, I don't know how to get people to come out. So,
Find
Yeah.
a teenager and ask them to do it.
well, I don't have kids, so I don't have that experience.
Yeah.
Well, Lori, I will get invited to the next survey, I'm assuming, because I gave you my email.
Mhm.
Once I get that, would you be okay with me posting it on my Facebook page and
You could
just
post it
saying?
anywhere you want.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
no, then that's fine. And like I
Absolutely.
said, if I go to town council in a couple of weeks, then I will speak and say to everybody watching out there that you're more than welcome to reach out to Lori if
Yeah.
you're interested. And, I'll just talk it up because I really did enjoy it. And I do think that people need a voice. So,
You could even
Mhm.
do Facebook Live if you want to broadcast it.
yeah, I'm not really a live girl. I don't do the video things. I'm going to leave that to the younger generation.
Yeah, well, me too.
Georgie, do you know who you're working with here?
Yeah, okay.
Kind of like a grandma here.
Kevin, don't drive her off so quickly.
I actually have the utmost respect for my grandma. I will be there.
Okay, I'm not grandpa age yet. Maybe dad age, but
Yeah,
I am.
Donna,
I'm Grammy. Yeah. Yes, Jenny.
I'm a Grammy.
just to go along with what
Agree
Kevin
not.
was saying, at our last meeting, the commission decided to add POCD discussion as an agenda item from now on.
I
So
thought
I
we
didn't see
did.
I didn't see it on tonight's, but it should be on next meeting's notes.
Right.
Agenda, excuse me, not notes.
Yep. I just
'Cause
made
it's
note
too
of that.
easy to fall
Jim.
through the cracks. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So next on our agenda is approval of minutes for April 20th.
I
I
only
move
had
that we
one thing,
approve.
Donna.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Looking at it, it said that you sat myself and Bob as an alternate. Bob's not an alternate anymore. Oh,
no. So if we could just adjust that, that'd be fine. Okay,
move-
do we have, go ahead.
I move that we approve the minutes with that correction.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Okay. Can we do roll call, please?
Donna Corbin Stavinsky,
Yes.
Kevin Zorda,
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Carrie Ann Howe,
Abstain.
Marie Pisner,
yes.
Bob Hendrickson.
Yes.
6 in favor, motion passes. We have no old business. New business is IW 626 40 Edgewood Drive, application of Rachel Boulette and Daniel Caesars, requesting a permit to construct a garage within regulated area DOR 42021. Are the applicants present?
So this was to see if we could make this agent approval. What they want to do is build a 2-car garage attachment, and it will be a 24-foot wide by 30-foot car garage attachment to an existing structure with a 6-foot by 18-foot deep breezeway. So the property is located entirely in wetlands, as is the rest of the subdivision. However, these wetlands don't seem to be functioning anymore, besides for the wetlands that are located outside the subdivision. And something to note is that this is one of the remaining properties that doesn't have a garage.
Yeah, I was noticing that. I also noticed one of them has an in-ground pool, which if the wetlands were really bad, that probably would be a big no-no.
Pop right up, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I
that's the first thing I saw on the picture was an in-ground pool, which is wonderful. I'm just saying, but that would have been a no-no. So,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about at the last meeting is, these subdivisions have been here for a long time. And they were supposedly wetlands, but they don't really act like wetlands anymore. So,
I move that we allow agent approval
Second,
for,
sorry.
where'd it go?
Get it?
For IW number 62640 Edgewood Drive.
I will second. Somebody
Okay.
will.
Okay, can we
Yeah.
have roll call? Any discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none?
Donna Corbett,
Can I make a suggestion that we just make a condition that proper sedimentation and erosion controls be, placed in, downhill of the construction area?
Okay, all right, so if we need to make that wouldn't be part of, aside from this, that wouldn't be something that the agent would be able to implement?
It just makes it easier for staff to say, look at, they already put this in as a condition of approval, you need to put ENS
Okay.
controls. I mean, we'll
All
go
right,
out and
just
make
for
sure that
future
it's
reference,
done.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Certainly, because I was thinking that myself, because it does look like there might be something, some sort of swale or something in the downside of that south side. So I will amend my motion to include a provision to properly put hay bales or sediment control of some sort to protect, I guess, the south area. There's no map on here.
Yeah. Do we have a second on that? Do we have a second on that for the approval?
second,
For the amendment?
second.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Roll call as amended?
Donna Corbin Savinsky,
Yes?
Kevin Zorda,
Yes,
Virginia Higley, yes. Carrie Ann Howe,
Yes.
Marie Pisner,
Yes.
Bob Hendrickson.
Yes.
6 in favor, motion passes as amended. Next on our agenda is DPN 21-04-12, 612 Hazard Ave, Meadow Manor, determination of permit needed for an adaptive reuse of Blair Manor Nursing Home into a 43-unit apartment complex. Is anybody on for this?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Peter Alter. I'm a lawyer. I practice law in Glastonbury in the firm of Alter and Pearson. Also appearing tonight will be Dana Steele, our project engineer, J.R. Russo. And also available, if there are any questions, is Mr. Zalman Glick, who is a representative of the owners of the property. This is a request by us for a determination of permit need with respect to the redevelopment and repurposing of the former Blair Manor Nursing Home, which is situated at 612 Hazard Avenue on the southerly side of Hazard Avenue. We're seeking that determination in accordance with your regulations. I'm not sure who keeps control, but it might be helpful if we have a site plan up for the commission to see on the screen. I don't know if you turn that opportunity over to Dana and he can put this map up or not.
Yeah, if you want to give me screen control, I can do that, or if staff
Dana,
wants to do that, that's fine.
Any of you should be able to share already. If you can't, let me know.
Also, the commission has copies of the site plan as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How's that?
Pretty good.
Looks dark.
That's better.
That's better.
So as the commission will note, the site is 8.37 acres. It is served by public water and public sewer, and it's bounded on the south, which is to the top of this plan by the Scantic River. The applicant owner is a successful and experienced multifamily developer and has taken the opportunity to acquire this nursing home, which has been empty and unused for several years, with the intention of converting it to 43 multifamily units, making use of the existing building. The zoning process, which this is the start of for us, will require a zone change from the current R44 zone to a special development district, and then the seeking of site plan approval in accordance with the plans that have been developed for the property. In working with Dana and the owners, we recognized and honored the 200-foot upland review distance that your regulation establishes from the Scantic River. And then the cursor is showing where that is. And then for the other wetlands, which are to the south and east, we use the 100-foot upland review area as well. We propose no activity in any wetland, and we propose no activity within any of the areas designated as upland review areas, the 200-foot separation from the Scantic River and the 100-foot separation from any other wetland on the site. And when Dana takes over in a moment, he will walk you through the intentions and plans of the party, and hopefully you'll be able to see that we have no prospective impacts on the wetlands or on the Scantic River by virtue of the proposal that is before you. We did have an issue that we've investigated thoroughly since starting this process. There was a company on the other side of Hazard Avenue that had underground storage gasoline tank that leaked. This is anywhere from 15 to 20 years ago that the leak apparently
50.
occurred. 15?
50.
50?
Yeah,
Sorry.
back in the 80s. Yeah.
Okay. The owner of that property undertook a substantial remediation plan supervised by what is now DEEP. And what brought it to our attention is the fact that there were a number of monitoring wells in the northwesterly corner of our property. And as a result of that, our client engaged our own environmental consultant to review all of the materials to make sure that we did not have an issue on our property. Part of our submission to you is a report from our environmental consultant of One Earth Environmental. Wayne Bugden provided you with not only a detailed written report, but also provided you with the materials that have been developed by the environmental professionals who undertook the remediation. And we are satisfied that nothing that we propose to do will engage any issues that remain after all these years. On the site, there was obviously some transmission of VOCs under Hazard Avenue following the groundwater regime. But further testing has indicated that, and you have an opinion of our professional, that there is no issues that would arise as a result of this development. with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dana, who can walk the agency through the site development plans and help you understand what the proposal is in order for you to make a determination with respect to whether or not a permit would be required. So I'll turn it over to Dana.
Okay, thanks, Peter. For the record, Dana Steele, I'm a professional engineer with J.R. Russo and Associates, and I prepared the site plan that's been submitted as part of this application. And so you see in front of you the plan of the existing conditions of the site. This is what's there currently. The building has 3 wings to it, a southern wing and a western wing that were built back in the 60s. And then the eastern wing was added in the 90s, as well as in addition to the front, well, called the hub area of the building. Originally, the site was serviced by septic, but some years ago, I didn't been able to determine the exact date. Probably at least 20 years ago, the building was converted from septic to sewer. So now there are 2 sewer lines that go out to the street, one for the eastern wing and one for the western and southern wing, the older wings that go out on the west side of the property. So the building that is currently served by city water and city sewer, and the property is bounded to the south by the Scannick River. That's I think the most important resource from the standpoint of this commission. So our concern is whether or not we're going to have any impact on the Scannick River and what we're doing. As you'll see, the 200-foot regulated area from the Scannick River here does encroach into the area that was previously disturbed. You can see the tree clearing limits in the back here. And it looks like the septic system here has grown over since then. So the tree lines kind of started to encroach back to the west. But this area had all been previously disturbed, like I said, back in the, at least in the 90s, if not the 60s, when this building was originally built. And so although there is improvements within the regulated area, we're not proposing any changes within the regulated area. So they're not tearing the building down. They're just renovating the interior. They're going to be doing some window replacements, door replacements, putting in new doors, but the footprint of the building is remaining the same. And other than some new sidewalks along the front, there's really no change to the overall footprint of the development. And all of the activities that we're proposing, which I've shown here in this dash double dot line here, all these areas of our disturbance are outside of your regulated areas. So the regulated area along the wetlands on the southwestern portion of the property coincides approximately with the tree clearing limit, the existing clearing limit. There's also a chain link fence there. So we're not touching the fence. We're not touching the trees. The only trees we're touching are these ones that are in this courtyard area in the back that were planted and are not original trees from the prior to development. So so moving on from sheet 3 onto the development plan, you'll see that what we're proposing to do is add new sidewalks in front of each of the wings, new concrete walks, a new parking area with a cul-de-sac island to vehicles be able to turn around and get back out, and some dumpster enclosures in 3 locations here, one near each wing of the building, so that they can contain and collect trash. These will all be enclosed. Dumpsters will have lids, so you won't have trash blowing around. And so we're following standard modern design practices for containing and controlling those types of potential impacts. And you can see that these activities that are being proposed are all outside of the regulated area. Here's the 200-foot line again. Here's the 100-foot line. And although we're skimming up real close to it, we are outside of the of the regulated area. So we're not proposing any activities within a water course or wetland regulated area. The storm drainage for this site, the other concern is, well, what about stormwater? Where does the stormwater go? Well, currently, the courtyard area in the back here drains towards the west, and the front area is all sheet flow to these leak offs. There's one here. There's one on either side of the entrance driveway, and then this parking lot here also has no curbing and just leaks off into this lawn area in the front. And so right now the site drains into a swale along the property, goes under a culvert, 24-inch pipe under the driveway, and then follows a swale around the eastern side of the property down to the Scannick River. You can see this these lines here. These are the 100 and 500 year flood limits of the Scannick River. You can see they're very well contained within the river. They don't encroach up into the developed area. The developed area is much higher in elevation than the river. But you can see there is a channel here right at the entrance to the Scannick River. But the water from this development currently sheet flows through pipes, and then sheet flows through a ditch along the back of the property to the Scannick River. And so the other area of, I guess, of resource concern, although it doesn't directly affect this commission, is the property next door is owned by the Hazardville Water Company. And the water company has a public water supply well on this property. It's not near our property line. It's all the way on the other end of their property. But because of the location of that public water supply well, portion of our property has been designated as an aquifer protection area. And that's this line, single dot line that cuts through the south western corner of the property. So the only aquifer protection area is in this area, which is the existing wooded area that we're not touching. So again, there's no activities even within that area. The third area of concern, because one of the first things we did when we began to look at this project was to meet with your staff and talk about what type of permitting would be required for this project. And although we are showing that there's no activity within a regulated area, there was concern raised by staff, and I think at the time it was Savannah Nicole, who asked about the monitoring wells that are shown on our plan. And so, as Peter mentioned, we looked into that. We hired an environmental professional to research it, to find out what was going on, because Savannah's feeling was that you as a commission might take jurisdictional action because there is existing some past contamination on the site. And the concern might be, it seemed to me from my perspective, that, well, is this development going to somehow adversely impact that contamination that's there? And so what we did is we had a report done by Wayne Bugden of One Earth Environmental, and that report was submitted with our package. There's a nice 3-page summary letter at the beginning, and then a whole lot of supporting documentation that goes with it. In that letter, Wayne points out that that he looked at first the environmental report that was done by Tire Country to address this gasoline spill that happened, I guess, like I said, over 50 years ago, to address it. The gasoline did travel under Hazard Avenue and onto this property. So where you see all these little dots in the northeast corner of the property, that's where the plume of gasoline is. It extends under Hazard Avenue and comes onto this property. So they did a study back years ago and concluded that the gasoline that was there was not having any impact on the residents of the nursing home. So that was obviously the nursing home's concern. What's this do to our residents? Are we going to have fumes coming up? Is it going to be a problem? And they concluded that it wouldn't be a problem. And the DEP was involved with this, and the DEP has since sort of concluded their monitoring and evaluation of this, because it's been determined that the plume hasn't gone away, but it's been contained. It's at as I explained, in a steady state condition. It's not expanding. It's not moving. It's staying where it is. And so that's good. But we still had to question, well, what impact does our development have on this plume? Are we going to impact it? And so Wayne looked at that as well. He looked at other published mapping indicating the direction of the groundwater, and through his evaluation of available mapping, the report from the Tire Country environmentalist, and also our site plan, he concluded that we were not going to have an adverse impact on that situation, and it wasn't going to negatively impact this use. So we were very happy about that conclusion and that result, and hopefully it satisfies you that although it's not ideal that there was a spill many years ago, certainly wasn't this property owner's mistake or issue, but we do want to make sure that it's not going to impact us, and we feel satisfied based on the report that was submitted that it's not. And I also wanted to know, is it going to have any impact on the Scannick River? Is it going to have any impact on the aquifer that is to the west? And is the fact that we're proposing groundwater infiltration as part of our stormwater management, is that going to have an impact on it? And they looked at all of those questions and concluded that no, it would not have an impact. So that gave us a great deal of confidence moving forward with this application. I'll continue on in explaining the plans. So the next sheet is our erosion grading and erosion control plan. This is the plan where we show the silt fence we're proposing to at the limits of activities. You'll notice that their silt fence encroaches a little bit into the 200-foot area here. And the only reason for that is I got this note here, construction access to rear no soil disturbance. So in order to come back to what's happening is there's a basement under this eastern wing of the building, and they want to put 3 apartments in the basement unit. And they have windows, but right now the windows are window wells, so they don't get a lot of light in and so they're mostly blocked. So what we'd like to do is remove those window wells and remove some of the soil that's right up against the building here. So the limit of our disturbance area is just this little area here to the south of the east wing. And we'll have silt fence around that to contain that area and some access with no disturbance just to get around the building. You'll see on this, it'll be a shorter distance to come this way, but you can see by the topography that it's a steep slope here. It's all vegetated, and to get with equipment around this end of the building would involve clearing trees, and that didn't seem to be worthwhile. We could do that, but it seemed to be a better way to go around this way. So try to show everything that we're proposing to do. There's a construction entrance at the limit of the area of disturbance. This is all existing pavement. We have a silt sack at the catch basin. There's only one catch basin on the site. It's in this location here. We're going to put a silt sack there. No catch basins in the road either. It's all just sheet flow off into this area. So we did an analysis of this site. I'll show you the storm drainage, which is shown on that plan. But moving on to the utility plan, we're proposing catch basins in the back parking area, draining to a low spot here, and bringing that drainage around towards the front, collecting this additional parking right up in front of the western addition, and tying it all in together and putting it into a new infiltration basin. Infiltration practices are considered best management practices. They're considered low impact development. They're considered green technology. They're environmentally friendly. It's the best way to deal with stormwater, because not only do we reduce peak flows, reduce volume, and the soils here are very compatible for that. In fact, what's interesting is right now the existing site just sheet flows off into this lawn area in the front, and there's a culvert that goes under the road. But interestingly, the existing culvert is almost completely full of sediment. You can't even barely see the pipe. It's so full, and yet there's no flooding problems, which tells me that this site really perks well. It really drains well, and that's what's been happening. It's like it sheets off, it infiltrates here, And so we're going to mimic that. We're going to continue to do that. We aren't sending any water directly towards the Scannick River. We could have put a drainage outlet towards the west here onto the slope here, but we didn't want to create a new point source, a new potential for erosion. And instead, we're sending it to the front. We're going to infiltrate it, and so that's going to provide the mitigation for the increase in impervious area, though we do have additional impervious area. We're making up for that by having more infiltration storage. So this basin that we're proposing in the front yard will provide that. This basin fills up and essentially there's never going to be water leaving this except in the most extreme storm events. Even a 50-year storm is not going to fill up this basin. It's not going to overtop it. 100-year storm just starts to overtop it. What happens then is it spills over, keeps going where it's been going always, towards this culvert. We are going to clean out the culvert because we do want it to be clear. But what's happened is over the years, it appears the ditch that serves the Scannick River has sort of filled in with sediment over time, and it's overgrown. It's stable right now. I've gone out and walked it. There's leaf litter on it, and it's just not draining because there's really no water that's making it there. You know, it's pretty well just all infiltrating to the ground. So we want to continue to do that. We didn't want to dredge this out and dig this ditch out, because in doing that, we'd be going into the gasoline plume area. Doing that, you know, we'd be clearing vegetation in a nice wooded area. And we felt that that the best thing to do was to mimic the existing conditions, make some improvements to the drainage. And we think that in doing that, we're going to have a good design that's not going to have any impact. It's not going to have any erosion impacts. It's not going to have any discharge impacts, because there's all the water is going to be treated. It's going to be treated through green infiltration practices, and we're going to be able to contain our runoff in an ideal manner. So that's the I think I could go into some of the other sheets of the plan set, but I don't think they really are pertinent to a wetland review. So basically, our conclusion from this as we prepared our application and submitted an application for determinant of permit need was that we have no activity proposed within a regulated area. We've had environmental professional confirm that we're not going to impact the aquifer. We're not going to impact the existing contamination that is in the north east corner of the property. We're staying away from that area. And so I think we have an environmentally friendly and sensitive design that is appropriate. So we felt that it would be appropriate for you to determine a permit is not required. But we welcome your feedback and further discussion or questions that you have about our proposal.
I actually have a couple of questions. In the, let's see, what is this? It'd be the southwest corner, the section where you're doing the bulk of the paving.
Yeah.
I note that there's a monitoring well in that area.
Yes. This one right here.
It's not anywhere near all of the other ones.
Yeah, there's a few of them actually. There's one there. There's another one in a couple of them here in the lawn, just to the west of the development. And I think although you see the highest concentration of them are here where the plume was, they did some others just to make sure. I think partly because the aquifer's over here, they wanted to see whether there were any impacts, and there was no impacts to the aquifer. There was the gasoline, thankfully, it was not making it into the water table, so that's a good thing. It was staying kind of suspended above that. The water table is very deep here, so that's an advantage. You know, it's in some sites, the water table is pretty shallow, and it'd be almost inevitable that there'd be some interaction, but it appears to be separated from that, and it's not migrating. So that's the reason for those, and we're not proposing to remove them. We would we maintain them so that if they ever needed to be monitored, they could, but they're not being actively monitored at this point because it's been so long ago. This has all been addressed really a long time ago.
And the other thing is that really the only location to put the dumpsters over there that you couldn't?
You concerned about this one?
Just each of the buildings as best you can, but putting it right there on the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the ideal location. Is it the only location? No, I mean, we could move it, but if I put it, say like right here, it would be right in front of someone's door. And so from from an aesthetic standpoint, it would be awkward to have to walk behind a dumpster to get to your door. That'd be, tough to market.
I mean, you could, even move it up over near the tree,
Up
that's
here?
moving it. Yeah, like right there.
Yeah, we could. I think my
mean,
thought
you'd
was
lose
I wanted to
parking
keep,
space, but
yeah, I wanted to keep all the, well, I could flop it. I could move the dumpster here in front of the tree and put more parking spaces over here. But then you've got parking spaces on either side of the dumpster, and so, I mean, the dumpster's enclosed. It's, I don't think moving it 30 feet is really going to have any kind of practical difference. If that was a big sticking point for the commission, I guess we could move it. But you can see where it is that the dumpster trucks can access it much easier right here, because you got a straight shot. They come in with their forks, pick it up, and then they can turn around. If I put it over here, I'd have to kind of do it on an angle as they come in, and it'd be a little trickier. And it's kind of where it wants to go, in my opinion. That's where it wants to go. So if there's, so I guess, give me some feedback. Is that making sense, or do you still have major concerns about that?
I do find it a bit concerning, because people throw everything away in a dumpster, and there's things that get thrown in that could end up leaching out, whatever. That's my biggest concern. And we are
Sure.
right there on the line.
Well, as far as leaks, the concern would really be with because where the leak's going to go is going to head towards this catch basin. It's not going to go to the wetlands. So if there was a leak, it would go towards there, and then it would get towards the infiltration basin, and that's where the concern would be. There could be some contamination there. So typically, what we do, what we require is a maintenance plan for the site that if there's any spills detected, they have to be cleaned up. It's really true of any parking lot. But as far as its proximity to this wetland, that's not where it's going to drain. That's not where it's going to go. And it's all impervious, so it can't like soak into the ground there and then make its way towards that wetland. So, the only thing I could think of is that blown trash could head that way. So if the trash can is lids left off and something blows out, you could get some trash that would blow over the fence. But that's why we have a fence enclosure. That's why we have lids. That's why there are there's a maintenance plan that they're obligated to comply with. And honestly, when the wind blows a trash, it doesn't matter whether it's here or if it's 30 feet over. It's gonna follow the path of the wind. So I respect your concern, and I'm willing to make that change if that's what you'd like to see. I just I don't see it as really having a significant benefit, but it's your decision, really.
Yeah, Dana, it's on a pad or on the pavement, correct?
Right. Yeah, it's on a concrete
Yeah.
pad, so it's not gonna drain to the wetlands. It's designed to go away from the wetlands.
Yeah, I have no concern with that. Carrie, did you have any other questions before I ask mine?
Are you channeling Jane? Where are we going to stockpile snow?
Yeah, so stockpiling snow is always a challenge on sites. In this case, we do have landscape islands, so where the snow can go. We've got a center island here where snow can go, and we've got islands over here existing where the snow is currently pushed. I'm sure along this this perimeter into this landscaped area here between the trees towards the edge of this. I ended up, originally I was going to do sheet flow off of the parking lot into this basin, and I decided to put in a catch basin. And what that will do is you can still pile snow here and it's not going to block the flow of water to the basin because you got a catch basin to collect it. So snow can be a windroad up against here. This is a buffer area, but depending on what P&Z requires for plantings there, the use is not a residential use, and it's already buffered pretty good on here. I know that's for another commission to evaluate, but if there aren't a lot of trees required here, then some more stockpiling could happen here. So compared to some sites, I think we have some areas, but the reality is you get 2-3 feet of snow, you're going to have to truck it away. That's just what happens. You have to, or what you end up doing is you end up piling it in some of the parking spaces that are not used all the time. And I think we have a pretty reasonable parking plan. That regulations do require a certain number of spaces, and really we want a certain number of spaces next to each wing, because it doesn't do a whole lot of good to have a parking space near the entrance and someone's got to walk all the way around to get to their house way in the back here. You need enough spaces near each of the doors to be reasonable. And so that's what we've come up with. And so I could show some stockpile locations on the plan. Honestly, I should have done that. I admit that skipped my attention. Unless I put it on this plan. I don't think I did. No, I didn't. So yeah, that's my fault. I should have included some snow stockpile areas, and we'll certainly make sure that makes it to the plan. Did I answer your question, or do you have any other concerns about snow stockpiling that you'd like to discuss?
No, that answers it. Thank you.
Okay.
Dana, Kevin Zorda. First, I just want to thank you. You always do a really good presentation. I know you've been before us many times, and
Thanks,
I
Kevin.
do appreciate that you do a great job, and clearly you've taken a lot of things into account. The only question I have, there's no intention to disturb the I assume it's the leach field of the old septic system, correct?
Correct. Those are going to stay in play, because to disturb them would require cutting down trees, and it's grown up over time because it's not even being used anymore. It's not hurting anything for it to remain there. It's not active. There's nothing flowing to it. All the pipes that were going to it have been cut off, and now everything goes to the sanitary sewer. So there are some septic tanks in this area that we are showing to be removed. Any structures like that, we're going to remove that are right up near the building. But these areas here and this area over here, they're just going to remain there, because that's the least impactful way to go. It's least expensive too. Frankly, it's an unnecessary expense to remove it. And I've spoken to the health department about it, and that their only concern was the tanks, the septic tanks. If they're in the way, they need to be removed. If any of the leaching system in the parking area is disturbed while we dig it, we will remove that. But only the areas that we're working in are going to be touched. And so, yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, super. Yeah, I was just a little concerned just because it's kind of close to where you're going to dig out those window wells, but I think it's plenty far enough away.
Yeah. And if we end up disturbing the corner of this field, then we'll remove that and backfill it, and it will just be capped, and it won't be an issue. So yeah, you're right. It does probably encroach a little bit there, but it's right near the edge of our limits. I bet we don't even have to disturb it.
Excellent. I have no other questions.
Does anyone else have any questions or concerns? And again, thank you, Dana, for the presentation. Very good as always.
Thank you, Donna.
Very thorough. Do I have,
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we determine that DPN number 21-04-12612 Hazard Avenue does not require a wetlands permit.
I will second.
that was, okay, great. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call, please, Ginny?
Donna Corbin Savinsky,
Yes.
Kevin Zorda,
Yes.
Virginia Higley, yes. Carrie Ann Howe,
Yes.
Marie Pisner,
Yes.
Bob Hendrickson.
Yes.
Okay, 6 in favor, motion passes. Thank you again, gentlemen, for the presentation. It was very good. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
very much.
Appreciate it. Good night.
Good night.
I'll
Good night.
stop sharing too.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you your screen back.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Next on our agenda is enforcement reports, which we have none. Report of the Development and Services and Planning. Did we have anything?
I really don't have anything to report. I do know that Georgie was looking at wetlands maps, but I'll let her talk about that.
Okay.
We were just gonna talk about having a possible new wetlands map. So something that was brought up to me last week was if the commission could set money aside to save up for drone to do new mapping techniques. So that's something you guys can talk about and look into if you're curious. If you do agree that you want to look into it, I can pull up some information together and send it out to you guys, like budgeting wise and stuff like that, how much it would cost. Currently still working on finding decent layers that have the most up-to-date information. So far, the State Department Deep is not planning on doing another flyover anytime soon, as they've already done one in the past couple of years. So the most I can probably find was a couple of updated aerial images and some of our old layers that we've seen in the past.
So in terms of the drone, I think it's a great idea, but it seems to me that that wouldn't really be something that we would fall under us. It seems like that would be a town thing. Lori, am I right? Or I mean, we have to ask if we can get money to go to a conference. I don't know how that would work with a drone.
Well, I mean, it's not just, buying or renting a drone. It's knowing how to,
training,
to run it. But the other, so you'd probably be hiring a professional. But the thing is using a drone is just going, I don't know if they have the ability to investigate the wetlands using different radars, or it would just be aerial photography, which we would then have to hire a professional inland wetlands agent to identify wetlands. So I guess we'd have to look into that a bit more. I mean, Georgie, when was the last flyover from the state?
Less than 10 years.
Okay, well, that's way sooner than the 1955 whatever soil survey that we have used for our current mapping. So I don't see why we couldn't use that. And then if we needed to tweak it based on the subdivisions that have been built within wetlands, then we can maybe go out and do some actual, field surveys with that. So I think maybe we could, try to do something along those lines.
Yeah, that seems more feasible, I think. Although I'm sure Georgie would like to get her pilot's license for.
Yes, I'm sure she would.
It's actually kind of fascinating how it works. It wouldn't cost as much as you guys think it would cost. Basically, how it works with drones, they're called UAVs. And what they do is they take a combination of satellite imagery and drone imagery, and then they analyze the images using different band colors. So that's how they do it, and it's really cool because there's like software that that come with these drones, and you can sign up for them. And like, for example, one's called Drone Deploy, where you fly your drone, you map out where you want it to go, and then you download the images that it took, and you can edit them with imaging software like Idrisi or Irdis, which are types of mapping software that map out vegetation areas, wetland areas, and stuff like that. So it's something to think about. Maybe
Don't,
pull together some research and see what you guys think. There's also other options.
Yep.
Like Lori said, we're
Yep.
not out of date. So
doesn't,
I don't think it would cost,
Well, I
I
just
don't
have
think
a
it would
question.
cost anything to just look into it, you know, I mean, if
Yeah.
Right.
Georgie can find the time to find out more about it. I know
yeah,
how
I
busy
thought
she is,
commercial
but if she
use
could,
needs a pilot's license though.
Right.
Oh, I
Well,
know
my
that.
question is, who would run this drone? Exactly, Kevin, because I
Georgie.
know a close friend of mine, her son is a drone pilot and he does it for real estate.
Yeah.
So if you know, real estate agents are hiring him to do the aerial views and all that, would that be on the same line of, I mean, because who would fly this? If we bought a drone, who would fly it?
well, there's different types of drones. There's the ones that require a person to fly them, and then there's the tiny ones that you can use as a remote. So that's what I was referring to.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Not the big ones. Those are really expensive.
Okay. All right. Well, I agree with Ginny. If you do have the time and you can look up the prices and the options, you know,
What they do for us, you know, would be great.
Yeah, give us the different options and prices and yeah.
and it wouldn't only
Yeah.
be used for our commission. I mean, the police department might
Yep.
love a drone. You know, I
Yep.
mean,
And the fire department,
fire department.
must
So
use
it
it.
might be something. It's
Actually, we, at one of our conferences, there was someone, I think it was a couple of years ago, that was discussing that first responders, they can actually get a grant. I think it was through the state or it was through another agency, I don't remember, that they could get a grant that they could get a drone for, you know, use for emergency first responders to go into buildings or for
Mhm.
scene safety.
Police using the
Yeah, the
catch
thermal
cone
imaging.
as well.
Well, I think Georgie needs to investigate this further and see what
Yeah.
sort of price,
Yes.
you know, what sort of cost it's actually gonna be, you know, is it that we buy a drone and learn how to fly it, or can we hire somebody, and how much will that cost? How much will the
Yep.
bands cost, and
Yep. And can we
you know,
share
is
it with
are they
other
trained to
departments?
identify wetlands?
The
Yeah.
cost of it, can it be, you know, can 2 or 3 departments chip in for the cost of it?
Well,
You
it
know, that'd
really
be something
depends.
to look at.
It depends on what we're actually purchasing.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If we
Yes,
have
I
to
know.
purchase a drone, I'm sure that the police department would be very interested. Maybe the
Yeah.
fire
Yeah.
department.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, if we're just hiring a professional to do a service, then
No,
that's something different.
no.
I'll
But
look
maybe
into
they might like to have that service. They might be able to identify other features other than wetlands.
Yep.
I'll throw
Yeah.
something together
Well,
for you. I'll make like a
Thank
packet
you, Georgie.
on my free time.
Okay.
Trust me, she'll have it done tomorrow. If she works.
Yeah. Perfect.
So,
Alright.
yeah, so, you know, let's keep investigating this, because there's no question we need to update our wetlands map, which I was using 20 years ago when I was there. Was it 30 years ago now? I don't know.
More.
And different options would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so next on our agenda is applications to be received. We have a IW 625, 11 Shaker Road, the Learning Center construction, 10,000 square feet.
So we actually already received this, so I think it was. an
That's
error
right.
that we-
Started that agent approval for 627.
Yeah,
Are you
so
looking at
I
the
mean,
agenda?
they were both actually acted on already.
Okay, that's good.
We're
Sort of my-
having a hard time like communicating and making sure that everybody's seeing the right data, especially me. 'cause
There
I'm-
should be no applications to be received and no agent approval.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's nice.
there's none on the agenda.
No, and the one I'm looking
No.
online I'm looking at the one online and it has it in the packet online.
Ah,
I was gonna
reading
say,
up.
I don't have it.
You know, wait,
Yeah.
in the master packet, you're looking at it?
Yeah,
no,
I can
Are you
open my
looking at
master
an old
packet.
one?
Hang
I
on, Donna,
tried.
which one are you looking at?
yeah, it's a master packet. It says for May 4th.
Okay,
So,
give me 1 second.
I use the one I get delivered, so I never know if there's anything different unless staff tells me.
It should be exactly the same.
yeah, it doesn't,
Thank you.
that's okay. You have the 2 extras on there, but I think that was from last time.
It was just that it's just redundant. We've already acted on them.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Everything
Yeah.
else was right.
Okay,
And I believe that we don't have any other applications to be received unless we got something in today.
Nope.
Right, Georgie?
Nope, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, she posted the old agenda back. That's all.
Okay, yeah.
so
So
so the next item is to adjourn.
I move for adjourned.
8:01.
I'll second.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.